Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over the daily uranium technical analysis update. I did throw some oil on the back end of this if you guys are interested in oil. And I think I threw a couple of solar companies. I'm doing it as the energy sector. And that's why I'm putting them all together to see how they're moving in relationship to each other. It looks like they're all moving in tandem. They're all going down at the same time and up at the same time. It has been brutal. Well, it's not that bad, this pullback. We're continuing to pull back. It looks like the sellers stepped in here. I saw weakness in oil, the oil price itself. I'll show you that. And I went over kind of the major companies in all the sectors that I think will give us a good picture of what's going on. Oil, I took the companies that I'm in. And then solar, I kind of just grabbed some random ones. So let's dive in. I'll show you what I have for the technicals today. And I was hoping for the buyers to step in here, but what's going on with uranium here? We've got a nice little rollover in terms of price. It's been down the past couple of days. We're back down to $31. Getting the rollover here. And it is having its toll on the stocks themselves. They are starting to sell off a little bit more. So we could go a little bit lower here. I was hoping for the buyers to step in, but having the price of uranium rollover isn't helping. Here's CCJ. Again, it's starting to go a little bit lower. I still think, I think we're gonna head lower here, just by looking at how we had these two small down days. This was primed for a move higher. But with uranium pulling back like this, 1.6% down, the equities followed suit. And it's got a little bit of a larger opening and closing price. The candlestick body is kind of large. And what that means is that it opened here and it went down throughout the day. It came up a little bit, went down, and closed pretty low. So the momentum's to the downside. I still think. Again, remember, guys, this is short-term probabilities. I would not be basing financial, decisions off of short-term technicals. But we can always speculate on this stuff, see which way we think it's going to go. The longer-term stuff in terms of value and charting is far more accurate and reliable than the short-term stuff. But trying to get your best entry points, that's what I try to do. And right now, I'd be waiting to see for a turning point with a bullish engulfing. I was hoping we'd have the buyer step in today, but that did not happen. So it looks like we're going lower there. This one doesn't look too bad, but I do expect maybe a little small down day tomorrow or something. Denison Mines is holding its own. That looks not too bad. Nice two little small down days. And what I like to see are these big up days like this, and then the small down days. That looks good. But energy fuels, we're starting to get a little bit larger down day here. And the reason, so what I'm looking at is I'm not looking at patterns at this short term, like the really short term. I'm looking at buying and selling pressures. And when I look at buying and selling pressures, like this has good buying pressure through here. And then it kind of went down. And I'm looking for a change. The change happened right here, this big bearish engulfing. Then you get another bearish engulfing, another bearish engulfing. What a bearish engulfing means is that this candlestick, the opening and closing price throughout the day, so it opened here and closed, means that this candlestick body engulfs the one before it. It engulfs the opening and closing price of this candlestick here, which is a statistical probability that it's going to go lower over time. Here's another bearish engulfing, going lower, and I'm not seeing any bullish engulfings. One is close, but it's not quite a bullish engulfing. There's one almost right here. So we could be moving on sideways. I still think we're going to chop, or lower to chop is where I think I'm at right now. And uranium, Royalty Corp, I'm just kind of looking at this pattern. And what I do is I don't really draw many trend lines. What I do is I just look at how these patterns are forming. We've got a bearish engulfing here. We have another one in here. We came on down, and again, this might only come down to 240 or something like that. And I might buy again at 240. It's a pretty good spot. But sideways to lower, just a teeny bit lower maybe, and then I bet you we'll chop sideways for a little bit. Global Atomic. I mean, what I also look for in some of these short-term patterns is I look for a large move higher and then a small pullback within this big move. So sometimes that means it wants to go up, but the overall sector is looking a little bit weak, especially uranium. The price of uranium's it pulled back some. So I just relax and I wait because I'd like to see the price of uranium turn around before hopping in this and seeing these patterns here. They don't look super strong. They look still like they're sideways to weak. The price of oil, it's not helping the mix as well. We've got this 1, 2, 3, 4 down days that were pretty massive. The buyers are trying to fight its way back up. It got hit again with this kind of bearish engulfing right here, which engulfs the one before it. Pop lower. It's coming up. It's got 2 small down days. What I'm seeing here, and maybe I can draw it in here so you guys can see what I'm seeing, is you get this pullback here. Let me make it a little bit bigger here. So you get this pullback, and then you get this other pullback, and then we get this other pullback here. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this to contract. Think of this as like someone punching it. They punched it, it came back up real slow, punched it again, came back up, punched it again. I'm looking for each punch to have less of an impact. What that means is that the sellers are starting to leak out. So I'm waiting here, not really doing that much. Looking for sideways movement and consolidation patterns. What I'm looking for. SM Energy down day today, but we're still above this nice big support area, going across at about 17's pretty strong. Even where it's at is pretty strong. So we'll see what happens. Centennial Development got hit, down 7.87%. It is still pulling on back here. We may have a couple more movements down. We might have a really good, excellent entry point coming up here. We very well could. Tetra Technologies, another oil. This is an energy service company coming on up, getting hit, moving sideways. TAN got hit today, 3.21% lower with the other energy companies. Too big. This is a bullish piercing. So that means that we had a down day here. This guy sold at the open down, and throughout the day closed up higher, about almost the 50% point. And this is a pretty big reversal. It came down and popped higher. And then usually that means that we're about to go higher. Bullish engulfing went higher. We went up into this uptrend. Then we're going to this other consolidation pattern. So we're in a consolidation pattern. Sunpower, hopefully this thing doesn't lose its support below here. But the buyers have been strong here. This is a bullish piercing here, bullish piercing here, bullish engulfing there. That means it's statistical probability that we were going to have a short-term bottom. It came up, bearish engulfing here, which means that the statistical probability of it going lower. We got another bullish piercing here, which means that we opened the price down low, we fought our way back up and closed above 50% of this candle before it, this down day, which is a short-term reversal pattern. Nice little wick at the bottom, another hammer pattern, which means you're going to go up, hammer pattern. So there's buyers down below here. Let's see if they can hold this thing up. Canadian Solar got hit pretty hard, it's minus 7.26%. Looks like we're kind of doing this, I don't know if it's like a little pattern, maybe we head down just a little bit more. Kind of complete this out. This is a bullish engulfing. Bullish, almost a bullish piercing. Bullish engulfing here. I'm just looking for any bearish signals. No bearish signals, really. Here's Beam Global. This one, I guess, is shorted to the hill. And remember, guys, I don't have that much money in these. These are small percentages. I'm just if it were to take off, it'd be pretty fun to ride this thing higher pretty quick if it does. And I'm just hoping that, these things, the short sellers get squeezed here. That's kind of what I'm going for. But that's the overall energy sector. The energy sector was down today. Nice little pullback. We got to wait for this to turn around. That's all it is. We know uranium's cheap in relationship to gold. We know oil's cheap in relationship to gold. It's like 26 or 27 barrels an ounce, something like that. And if these two diverge, where oil pulls back and gold goes up, just means that the ratio gets cheaper. At the tops of bull markets for commodities, oil reaches ratios below 10. So what that means is that the oil price, if we're at 30-ish, can go all the way to below 10. That oil itself can expand at 3 times the rate of gold. If gold goes up to 2,000, oil at 1/10 of 2,000 means it could go to $200 a barrel. At that ratio, where it goes up at 3x, it's possible that some of these stocks go up 5x of that. So it's 15 times their return could be 15 times the price of gold. That's a really good deal, especially if gold's going higher. But looks like in the medium term, we're coming under pressure. And this is going to happen, even if we come into the fall or winter when maybe some of the demand goes down a little bit for oil, and maybe it doesn't. Again, this is all speculative. So what I look at, market conditions are good. Real estate is hanging in there. It's going higher. We've got low inventory. So that's a check. The valuations on the ratios are cheap. Check. Short term, though, we're seeing dollar went up today, and the 10-year went down. It's breaking kind of it hit its head on its pattern, its downtrend line, I should say, and it headed lower if you look at some of the charts. So what I say, I'm not doing anything. I'm just holding on. I would not be adverse to buy when these kind of come back and then go into strength. I like buying into strength, but the charts are basically flatlined on some of these companies. They're just kind of going sideways. So I would not be adverse to buying. We still have very cheap valuations. I just get in there and I cost average in. That's what I do. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.